Hello everybody, this is Cynthia McMullen with Alaska Institute of Oriental Medicine, Acupuncture and Massage Therapy. And I'm here today with Julie Meer. Julie is the owner of Farm 779, which does incredible, my personal favorite fermented products. And Julie she's got such a list of credentials. She's a holistic healer. She works with Reiki, acupressure, and reflexology. She also is certified in Ayurvedic healing. Her interest is in aging well. So Julie goes back to a PhD in comparative religious studies, and she is also a nationally certified holistic health coach. And today we're going to talk about fermented products, fermented foods, what they can do for you, how to use them, what health conditions they benefit, and see where this conversation goes. So welcome, Julie.
Thank you, Cynthia. It's good to be here.
Yeah. So I have to tell you, I love your products.
Thank you.
I go out of my way to go down to the Sears Mall on usually I make it Thursday in the afternoon, but Saturday if I have to. So I know you're there those 2 days.
We're only there Thursday now. We used to be there on Saturdays.
Okay. So just Thursday?
Farm 779 is there on Thursday. There is another fermenter there on Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah, and she has a really good fermented salsa you probably tried. That's really a nice product.
Yeah. Yeah. So how did you get into working with fermented products?
It goes back to my childhood. I actually used to make sauerkraut with my grandfather when I was a little girl.
Wow.
I was the youngest member of the family, and he was the oldest member of the family, and everybody was too busy for us, and we just kind of hung out. He taught me to make sauerkraut. He taught me how to hunt. He taught me how to build things and ride a bike. Lately, getting into it, the last 15 years, I've had 2 friends diagnosed with cancer. Trying to rebuild their immune system. Fermented foods became highly recommended from their care practitioners. So really got interested in the kefir, and specifically coconut kefir rather than the animal products.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I use that just about every day.
And it's malleable. You can do a lot of things with it. You can make dips out of it. You can just eat it. You can use it instead of sour cream. And I can't imagine a world without Farm 779 coconut kefir.
Yeah. So with cancer and rebuilding your immune system,
yes,
that's interesting that it would be, you said, recommended by a healthcare practitioner.
The Cancer Treatment Centers of America is the specific provider that recommended that. They're really a wellness center with a medical facility, so it's different than going to an oncology clinic. As I understand it, the majority of their patients are terminal, so they know they're at the end of their life, and they know that there will be a lot of self-care involved in introspection, and that's how they work, which I think is just beautiful.
So what are some of the different conditions besides cancer that people might be experiencing who would want to really look at using the fermented products?
Excellent question. And today, oddly enough, it has been diverticulitis.
Wow.
I've had 4 or 5 people come in today, women that were diagnosed with diverticulitis. One of them came in and was she kind of hugged me. Had been eating our kefir for a week or 2 and had really experienced a lot of relief. She's actually been sleeping. She hadn't been able to sleep previously just because of the pain. She's been sleeping through the night. A lot of that has to do with the natural magnesium that you find in organic coconut. And then the beneficial lactobacillus plantarum bacteria that combats the bacteria that's causing the distress in the digestive tract. So, yeah.
And anything else? Any other conditions?
Everything comes down to all of it. Use it on everything. Any malady in the body comes down to the health of your immune system. Can it fight? Is it strong enough to help your body heal? If you're very sick or you eat a lot of processed products, food that has no nutritional value, your immune system's fighting your lunch. It can't fight disease and bacteria and things like that. So building your immune system really just builds your wellness. You can't have one malady in your body, say your foot is affected and nothing else in your body is. It's all connected.
Right.
Yeah, the immune system runs the whole body. So that all starts in my education and my background. That all starts in your gut.
Now, I know I was introduced to your products by some of our students here at the school.
Yep.
And because we get into talking about nutrition, 5-element nutrition, and I know you're very versed in that, along with the Ayurvedic nutrition. They're cousins, close cousins. Different language, but same message. And our students started to come in and would bring me some of your, the different, like turmeric products and some of the kraut. It was delicious. And we would talk about what to use it for. Different people would try it. A lot of digestive issues. Anxiety was in there. All kinds of skin issues.
Yeah, skin issues. Eczema is another one that I see a lot, especially up here, because of the amount of ice cream that people eat. We like sugar in the wintertime in Alaska.
Is it just the ice cream? I think
it's a lot more than ice cream.
Lack of sunlight, vitamin D.
Oh yeah, that plays a part too. But when you think of commercial ice cream and what's in it, if you go through the ice cream aisle, look at the ingredients, and just Google the glue that's in that. If you look at a skin condition like eczema, as I'm looking the burn on my hand, if you look inside of your digestive tract, it's 10 times worse than your skin. And every time you eat sugar or a product like highly processed dairy products, you're feeding the bacteria that's actually causing that problem internally and externally. The thing that we realized too with kefir, if you have eczema, you can put the kefir directly on the eczema on your skin, because that too is live bacteria, and that will help heal also, including ingesting it.
That's great to know.
Yeah. But yeah, our diets up here in the winter are not really that good, and we eat a lot of quote comfort foods, which actually feed disease.
I have to kind of wait until summertime when tomatoes taste like tomatoes again.
Exactly. Now with Ayurveda and looking at that, I just had this conversation earlier today. It's cold up here now. We have snow and ice and it's winter. And things like tomatoes and fruits and salads and things like that are cooling foods that we eat in the summer. Maybe that's nature's ha-ha on us, don't eat this stuff or you can't taste it because this is the wrong time of year for that. Yeah.
So let's say somebody comes in and they have something going on and they look at all of the different things that you have, and you've got a lot of cabbage or kraut. That your kimchi is so delicious. I put that on. I eat that even for breakfast sometimes.
Thank you. Yeah.
You've got some of the little fresh snack food that kind of replaces potato chips or something. That's also delicious.
It's a coconut base.
If somebody said, "Hi, I have this condition," what would be the best choice for me to use? Where would you kind of guide people?
The strongest bacteria culture that we have is in our coconut kefir. And again, we started doing this with cancer patients going through extreme chemo, end-of-life chemotherapy. And the Lactobacillus plantarum, Lactobacillus brava, and 26 other cultures that we can get to grow in that particular medium-chain triglyceride fat is our strongest bacteria. So we've expanded that to kefir where I've left the coconut pulp in, kefir that I've strained the coconut pulp out. We've made dips. We have a turmeric dip, so that's really effective for pain relief and managing inflammation. We have a citrus kefir that is the zest of organic lemon and orange, so it's denser in manganese, magnesium, zinc, boron, full spectrum of vitamin B and vitamin C, which it tastes like a light lemon cheesecake. So it's really good with blueberries.
I don't think I've tried that one.
That one's really good.
Okay, it's on my list.
Okay.
And so how often does somebody take that? What do they do? Does it have to be on an empty stomach? Or?
No. This is the nice thing about using whole foods. Your body recognizes food. So if you're eating something, your body's going to digest it. We recommend that you take the kefir at night right before you go to bed, because if you have a lot of active bad bacteria cultures, there's a lot of growling and gurgling going on. So if you're sleeping, you're not hearing that. Also, because of the natural content of magnesium, you're actually sleeping better if you take the kefir right before you go to bed. You do need to get up and run to the bathroom first thing in the morning because it has a cleaned house while you're sleeping. you wake up refreshed because you actually hit REM sleep. Your brain was able to shut down.
That's hugely important.
Huge. Yeah, and people that are sick or magnesium deficient don't sleep well. So they never really feel rested. They're just exhausted. So that's the best feedback that we hear about that. But it was initially the gurgling and the growling that people were like, I can't have this. It was like, well, why don't you try it at night? And then they were sleeping better.
And so it's just once a day.
Once a day with our kefir is fine. Now milk kefir, you can digest a whole lot more of that. The bacteria culture is not as strong. Usually the milk has been homogenized or pasteurized, plus you've got animal proteins in it. We found that it was better to use the coconut without the animal products, without the growth hormones, things like that.
And I bet vegetarians, vegans appreciate that a lot too.
Yeah, because you can use it too like a sour cream if you want to. The really cool thing about using our ferments, I can't speak for everybody, is that we've done a long, slow, cold process. So there's no sugar left in them at all. There's no carbohydrates left in them at all. So if you want to cheat and eat a baked potato if you're a diabetic, put some kefir on it. The kefir will pre-digest the sugar and the carbohydrate of the potato. Potato tastes sweeter. You've satiated a craving, and you haven't spiked your blood sugar. So you just don't want to eat too much of it. I did once and experienced something called die-off, which I'm sure a lot of your listeners are familiar with, and I won't do that again. I wanted to know what it felt like. It wasn't pleasant.
That's a good experiment. To do those. So what is too much?
Too much would be half a jar, whole jar.
Oh, that's a lot.
That's a lot because it's a pint of product. But when we have these crossover customers, and we do, which are people that have come from drinking the blueberry and the strawberry milk kefir that you can buy in the grocery store, they can drink a whole pint of it and nothing happens because it's dead. It's had sugar added back into it. It's had flavoring added back into it. And a lot of times the blueberry and strawberry flavoring does not come from blueberries and strawberries. It comes from a product called castoreum, which comes from beavers, and that's a great thing to Google. You'll never do that again.
Now, I've gotten some of your Beet Kvass, and I know you talked about that previously for high blood pressure.
It's a vascular dilator. Beets are a natural vascular dilator. When you ferment any food, you increase the absorption rate by 10. So let's say you have high blood pressure and you hate beets. Okay, our Beet Kvass is perfect because the serving size is a half teaspoon per day, and you can put that in your smoothie, you can put that in water, whatever, but you're absorbing 10 times more of that nutrition. A vascular dilator is, in English, that would be if we filled up a room with people and we wanted them to have room to mingle, but they were shoulder to shoulder. Vascular dilator is pushing the walls out, pushing the ceiling up and dropping the floor, so there's more room. You have more room for the people to move around, or the blood cells to move through your body, and you don't have that pressure. Vascular dilation also oxygenates a body, so if you're a runner, if you're a weightlifter, if you're a CrossFit person, if you do marathons, we have a Meer's marathon up here every year. People buy all of our kvass.
I bet just for massage therapists even working hard.
Working hard on the body, yeah. Yep.
So let's see, in 5-element nutrition, we would use beets as a blood building.
Absolutely.
What exactly is a kvass?
Kvass is a process of fermentation that concentrates the nutritional value. Kvass traditionally in Russia is made with stale rye bread. If you look at that population in that part of the world, there is a lot of alcohol consumed, and that alcohol consumption begins in childhood. So there's a lot of liver damage. So kvass is a good blood builder, good for the liver, good for decongesting the liver. So that kind of goes hand in hand in the region of how it came to be. My heritage is Estonian, so my grandfather, again, kvass was a staple that he had, but he would make it with stale bread. A lot of people that we get from the Ukraine, from Russia, that come over, they're like, oh, I can drink more of this. And it's like, you can't drink more of this one because this has been fermenting for a year. So don't drink the whole little bottle that we sell it in. But it is very healing for blood, very good for liver. And then when you factor in colon, beets moves things through your body. So you're detoxing your liver and you're moving the toxins out of your body rather than recirculating them back through your bloodstream.
Oh, that's great. I'm going to add that onto our list because my massage class right now, we just talked about doing a liver cleanse together.
There you go.
And that would work perfectly in with it.
Yeah.
Does that have to be refrigerated?
Mine doesn't, because my salt content is 5% for shelf stability.
Okay.
That's how I can keep these things out on a table all day and be okay with the health department. Normally in a ferment you use a 2.26% salt base, but normally people that ferment use white table salt. I use Himalayan salt, so it's a different salt. We've changed the nutritional content of it. A lot of our clientele are people that don't have refrigeration. So we had to factor that in when we were figuring out how to do these products.
So does that mean they would also ship well?
They do. They do. They're shelf stable, which means that you can keep them out at room temperature. If you keep them above 56 degrees, they're going to continue to ferment. You can usually find an area in a house or a camper or something that is below 56 degrees, even if it's under and outside. And that's kind of how we factored the temperature in. But this was important with getting our permitting to be able to sell these products, because if you're doing like we're doing, small farmers markets, hauling refrigeration units back and forth will kill you. Literally and physically. They're too much. So we had to make a shelf-stable product that was still a good ferment. So
yeah. Is the beet the only kvass that you have?
We do a carrot kvass.
And that sounds like that's going to be awesome for the liver too.
Absolutely. Absolutely, and very good for hair, skin, and nails. I love carrot kvass. Today I actually had a case of it. It's gone. It was gone before I left. I don't get carrot kvass often. We get different carrots from different growers here, and it depends on the soil content of where we got them, what section of the butte, if they kvass well or if they putrefy. So it takes, the carrot kvass is not as easy to make as beet kvass.
So if I wanted to get enough for our entire class on something, let's say 10 bottles, do we have to order that in advance, or do you have that?
Let me know in advance so I can make sure I have it. I usually come in with 3 to 4 cases of beet kvass, but that's usually gone by the end of the day.
Yeah, I noticed if I have to go early to get my favorite stuff there.
You do. You do. By 2 o'clock, we're like trying to bring things together so it looks like we still have a lot of product. We have a large following here. We have a large referral system here.
Yes. I know in our acupuncture clinic, somebody will say Farm 779 and everybody pops up, oh, I know them.
Kefir lady. Yeah.
So how about all the different krauts? You've got krauts, you've got the fermented lemons. Any difference in how you would recommend those?
The lemons, we recommend 2 slices per day. You can chop those up and put those in a salad if you don't want to eat them. They're not sour, so you can actually eat them like a pickle. You can grind them up in your smoothie. I like to just grind them up and make ice cubes out of them, and then that, when I'm having some kombucha, I'll just pop a couple of those in with that, and that's really
good. That's a good idea.
Yeah, they're super high in vitamin C, plus you're getting the collagen from the pith, the white part of the lemon that is so bitter if we eat it raw. It's actually really good when it's been fermented. The juice in there makes a really good lemonade. So there's a lot of different uses for it. I like to mix it in the summertime with a little bit of apple cider vinegar and then put that over ice, and that's a really good, cool, refreshing drink.
I think summertime on a salad sounds delicious.
Really good.
For that.
Yeah, yep. Yeah. The base of all of our krauts, we use Rempel Farm produce specifically because of the natural lactobacillus that Mark has been able to generate in the soil. He probably has the healthiest soil that I'm aware of in the state of Alaska. He doesn't use pesticides, he doesn't use insecticides. He's got a really good product. We get our starter culture from that cabbage. So we're not bringing anything in from the outside, which means that all of the allergens that you're dealing with and all of the counters to the allergens are in that cabbage and in that starter culture.
That's great. I know eating local is so important.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, especially with people with allergens, because it's like our we have an apiary also, my husband does, and the pollen, and a lot of the pollen that we get up here that people are taking to treat allergies is shipped up from California. Our pollen looks different up here. It goes from black to bright yellow. The stuff that most people are buying in local stores is just kind of a pale yellow color. That's almond orchard pollen. That's not Alaskan pollen, and it doesn't help with local allergies.
So how about the krauts? Is there too much on that, or can somebody eat that?
You can eat too much of that. You can't. We eat it on. I eat it for breakfast.
Oh, on toast.
Anything.
Yeah.
On avocado toast, it's like the bomb. It's good if you eat eggs. It's really good on eggs. It's actually good in smoothies. You would never think to put kraut in a smoothie, but it's actually really good. If you have any fruit in your smoothie or carbohydrate in your smoothie, it will help to pre-digest that for you. Again, you're building a Lactobacillus plantarum, Lactobacillus brava, and the other essential bacterium that make a good kraut. Cabbage is almost a complete food. It's extremely nutritious, and most people, when you think of cabbage rolls, and that's it, or coleslaw, and that's it. If we couldn't get a barge up here, or there was no transportation to get food up here, we'd do okay eating cabbage.
I know there's a saying, if you eat enough of the cruciferous vegetables, your cabbage, kale, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, on that line, that it's very difficult to get a lot of different types of cancer.
It is. Almost impossible.
And so I would think that by fermenting them, that makes it even more special.
Well, it increases the absorption rate, and that's the other thing with adding fermented food into anything. You increase the absorption rate 10 times. Of
anything that you're taking?
Anything that you're eating it with. So let's say, I run into this a lot. People tell me, I can't afford to shop organic because I can't afford it. And it's like, well, what do you buy? So if we look at what's in their shopping cart, there's a lot of carbohydrates, there's a lot of fillers and things like that. Yes, organic food is expensive because really growing food is expensive. Most organic growers are not subsidized like your big farms. If you're buying more nutritious food in the first place and you start absorbing more of it, you're not going to be eating so much to fill up a gut to answer a brain that's starving to death. And that's where we overeat. That's where we overshop. Our brain is so hungry because there's no nutrition in our food. If we increase the absorption rate, we'll eat a lot less food. We do eat a lot less food because we're actually absorbing the nutrition that's available. At the end of the month, and I've done this with so many people, and the answer is always the same, is I'm spending less money than I ever did. I never thought that this would happen. I'm not hungry all the time. I'm up doing things. I'm learning, I'm thinking, I'm walking, I'm exercising, I'm dancing, because my brain isn't focused on eating more macaroni.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people don't realize that switch right there is you don't even have to go on a diet. You just go to your natural weight.
Yes, yes, yes. And you get busy and you want to learn because life is fun again because your brain is getting nutrition.
Now the brain aspect is huge.
It's enormous.
We see so many people, especially in the acupuncture clinic, because we do a lot of treatments for memory or brain fog and things on that line.
Yeah.
And we often recommend your products in combination with treatment too.
Absolutely, yeah, because it comes down to you're either digesting food or you're being digested and you're something else's food, really, at the end of the day. And the name of the game in the human body is to digest nutrition so the body can work optimally. Learning is fun, and we should learn something new every day, every year. For me, it's like we were talking earlier about certifications. I've got a whole bunch of them because every year I want to learn something new and apply it, and I love it, and I think it's great, and I can see myself being a very old woman still learning things. So trying something new.
Yeah, never stop.
Never stop. Teach people.
And right now in the news, the gut-brain connection is huge.
They're finally catching up with that. Yeah, And Cynthia, this is a great point. When I'm explaining things to my American customers, my left hand is Western thought or Western medical thought is this, Eastern thought is this, and kind of comparing. And it's like, The left hand is trying to catch up to the right hand. The right hand has been here a long time and has known what's right.
Yes.
It's always known what's right, but we don't always listen to that. So it's coming back around full circle.
It is, and it's nice to see the science catching up with it.
It is. And having peer-reviewed data to recommend and look back, a lot of my customers are in the medical fields. They see what happens to bodies, and they realize there's not much I can do for this. And being able to tell them, this is a peer-reviewed study. Go look it up. Go read it. Investigate or look into the author of this. Who sponsored it? Who paid for it? That's how you follow the bouncing balls for this. But they want to understand it, and they do want to see the science behind it, and which is rational.
Yeah.
Because if we understand something, the chances that we're going to pursue it are much higher than if we just say, "Oh, this is interesting."
Yes. I follow the work of Dr. Terry Walls.
I love her. Yeah.
And she cured her own MS. I'm going to actually use the word cured.
She did.
Her own MS.
Absolutely.
With nutrition.
Yep.
And she's making so much noise in the medical community because she is a doctor, and she's got the research and the background and the knows the right people to put that kind of information out. And I saw just the other day that she was actually banned as a speaker at the MS Society for promoting false hope.
This is funny too, and I've talked to this because I have a friend who is a prominent surgeon here in town, and I said, you know what? Once you make it onto Quack Watch, I'll believe you. He goes, what is Quack Watch? I'm going, okay, here's the name of another person that I like, Carolyn Dean, naturopathic doctor, medical doctor. I go, she's on Quack Watch. I love her because she's got left hand, right hand going on. She understands this. People that have this knowledge or this wisdom, and it's usually gained through a personal loss, have helped, healed, or cured themselves. So they get it. It's kind of like a woman who has had a baby understands what it feels like to have a baby.
Yeah. And I look at it, how do we rebuild our body?
How do we rebuild? And that's the key.
And everything we take in, the quality that we take in, the quantity, but the chi of what we're taking in.
Chi is paramount. And that's the other thing about fermented food. It's alive.
And not only that, it's handmade by somebody who loves it.
Who loves it. And all of that factors in, and especially this time of year, because I was talking to a lady again this morning. She goes, this kefir is really sour. And I go, isn't it great? And she goes, no. And I'm like, no, it's fabulous. Because the bacteria love this time of year. I love this time of year, and I'm the one making it. And I've been watching that and keeping data on that. What am I listening to? What am I thinking about? Did I meditate this morning? Did I do yoga this morning? Am I in a hurry? Where is my spirit, and what am I creating in this product? And this is my really happy time of the year for whatever reason. But the kefir shows that. It's thicker. It's sour. It's wonderful. It's strong.
And I think there's something, I don't know if we've understood it fully yet, but the more we have our own good bacteria, it's like the more of ourself we become.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Because the bad bacteria carries more of the noise, the drama in life, the problems, the stress. It's attached to that. The good bacteria doesn't really go there.
It doesn't, and that's an excellent point. And when I'm educating people about using whole food probiotics when they're new, I'm like, your thinking is going to change. You're going to start caring. You're going to start working in community with people without even thinking about it, because that is what's happening in your brain chemistry. Bacteria travel up the vagus nerve from the gut to the brain, affecting the amygdala, how we get along with others, if we play well with others, or if we're very egotistical. If your gut bacteria is balanced, you play well with others without trying to play well with others. It's like you become a member of the beehive or the ant colony. You just do what you're supposed to do and do the right things and travel in that direction.
And you don't have to try.
You don't have to
try. It just happens.
You just do that. Yeah.
And it's one of the things too, you have to experience it to understand that.
Yeah. Yeah, do or do not. There is no try. Yoda knew what he was talking about.
All right, so any contraindications, cautions, anything like that? Somebody's taken some kind of medication or conditions that shouldn't use
If you start, I get asked that often, and the biggest one is dizziness with the Beet Kvass, and it is like, go back to your medical provider and have your medications adjusted.
Okay, so if they're taking high blood pressure medication,
go back. If you start getting dizzy, go back to your Western medical provider and have your medications adjusted. Okay?
So you can take it, but you've got to watch for that.
Right, and it's not hurting you. Your body is healing, so you're over medicated. So that's why you go back and get that adjusted.
I love that point.
Mm-hmm. That's a huge
the
point.
medication's important to do what it needs to do.
Absolutely.
However, when you start actually healing your body, you do have to go down on that side.
You do, and it would be like if you had a gushing, bleeding arterial wound, you would use a tourniquet. If you had a paper cut, you wouldn't need a tourniquet. You would need a Band-Aid. Same thinking. When your body starts to heal, you don't need the crutches anymore.
So how about chemotherapy? Is that fine to use?
Chemotherapy, that's a home personal point to me. I've seen 2 of my friends go through chemo. I really want to focus more on healing the immune system.
Yes. I mean, if somebody's using chemo,
Absolutely.
can they still do the fermented products?
Please do. Please do.
Yes. So it won't. Yeah. It's going to help, not hurt.
Exactly. The fermented foods will not hurt you. You may have die-off, which feels like the flu, but they're not going to hurt you.
And if you have die-off reaction, which feels like the flu, just cut back on them a little bit.
Just cut back on them, because what die-off means is you're killing bad guys too quickly.
Faster than your body can get rid of them.
Exactly, and it does feel like the flu. But yeah, chemo, if you're going through chemo, please use fermented foods. If you're able to use ours, that's specifically why they were made. So that's why they're so strong. Yeah.
And any other digestive issues that somebody might have to be careful with? What about like Crohn's, IBS?
Those are bacterial conditions, and those are not good bacteria. So when you're building up the lactobacillus, the lactobacillus plantarum, you actually help the body start to heal. A good reference I like to use for this is a person called Michael Pollan, which I think we're all familiar with him. The Omnivore's Dilemma. Yeah.
Yes.
He wrote a book called Cooked with a chapter on fermentation, which is probably the most complete, easiest to wrap your brain around explanation that I've ever found to recommend for folks.
I'll put a link to his book in the comments.
Yeah, and it's
description.
Just the chapter on fermentation will blow you away, the amount of information that he's put in there, and it's typical. Oh yeah, Michael Pollan. This is what happens, and this is what happens in your body, and this is what the bacteria does, and this is the life cycle of the bacteria. Again, when you understand that and you can start thinking that way, you start to look at disease and disease management differently, because it's like, oh, if it's a bacterial war and I'm either digesting or being digested, wouldn't I hedge my bet towards being the one that's doing the digesting? So he just has a great way of explaining things to people.
Yeah. What about lumps, cysts, things like that aren't tumors? Have you heard of anybody using it just with or lipomas, different stagnations?
You
in the
could,
body?
because because that comes back to blood and lymph. And again, I guess I haven't said this. Your lymphatic system is one cell membrane off of your digestive tract. So if you're cleaning up your digestive tract, you can't help but clean your lymphatic tissue. Another good thing to use is Epsom salt. Soaks, baths, soak your feet, walk on the beach, things like that. But building up the good bacteria in your digestive tract helps your lymphatic tissue. The purpose of your lymph is to clean your blood. So the cleaner the machine is, the more efficiently the machine is going to run. When I talk to men about this and try to explain this, I'm like, okay, what would happen if we took your truck out there, your new truck, and we filled the gas tank with Jell-O? And they're like, why would I do that? And I said, well, that's what you're doing when you're eating fast food that's been processed. That's what you're doing when you're drinking massive amounts of alcohol. That's what you're doing when you're filling up on ice cream and cake and all this stuff. You're putting Jell-O in the gas tank of your truck. Well, I would never do that. It's like, but you're doing that to yourself. getting them to conceptualize and understand it, looking at it as my body is a vessel or an engine. I want it to run at peak performance. So good fermented food help your body do that because they keep your digestive system active, absorbing and running at peak efficiency.
Now, how long will it take for somebody to start to notice their digestive system changing and actually starting to really feel better?
Not long. I mean, I've heard feedback of hours. The usual is a couple of days, and that's because of catching up on sleep. When you've had 2 good nights of sleep, you actually feel better. Your outlook is better. You can look at life differently. If you've ever been around a person that's incredibly depressed, when they actually start to sleep and their brain can actually process, their subconscious can process things, they kind of get happy, without thinking about it, and they'll catch themselves and it's like, oh wait, I should be feeling bad about this, but I'm not. I actually feel good. It's a beautiful day outside.
Yeah. Now that just reminded me, we have a book out in the acupuncture clinic by one of the local mental health authors, and I'm sorry I forgot her name right now. I'll put a link to her book also.
Okay.
But it's on psychiatric nutrition.
Yeah.
And it's about her. She wrote it about helping her brother,
yes,
who had severe mental disease,
yes, heal
through nutrition.
It all comes down to nutrition. Your body systems, in my educational background, your gut feeds everything in your body. Your brain drives you. So if we go back to the Jell-O in the gas tank scenario, if you're not eating the right food, the motor can't run. So if you look at the motor as your brain can't function if it's not getting the right nutrition. If it's starving to death, you're having chemical reactions going on, and if you don't have the right chemical reactions, the synapse can't fire, and if the synapse can't fire, you don't make good decisions. You can't make decisions. You make bad decisions. But that doesn't come down to the person. It's not a personal thing. Again, it's brain chemistry. Yeah.
So somebody who's interested in this, they've never tried it before, what's the best way, the easiest way for them to start? I know the products aren't expensive. You can spend $10 or $20 and just get enough to last for a whole week or 2.
Right. You don't, again, because the serving size on our products is a tablespoon a day. That is not a lot.
I have to have more than that.
I do too.
Especially the kimchi.
That kimchi's pretty killer.
Kimchi's like a quarter cup.
We do sell it in half gallons.
I saw that.
The easiest way to start, and again, the most prolific one that we have is the kefir, and I recommend that people take a tablespoon of coconut kefir, put it over a quarter cup of organic blueberries, and then shake a little nutmeg on top of that. If you like ice cream, if you're an ice cream person, put it over frozen blueberries and blend it up, and then put a little nutmeg on top, and your brain is going to think, ooh, I'm having a nice blueberry cobbler, and you're eating. Yeah, you've got a quarter of a cup of mass, which is probably 2 good bites to your normal ice cream eating person. So it's over pretty fast when you eat it, but your brain thinks, ooh, I just had some dessert because of the nutmeg, and nutmeg is also a natural sedative, which helps you sleep. One of my favorite things to do if I'm going to do something stupid like eat potato chips, which I do sometimes, I'll admit it.
It's okay, you're forgiven.
Thank you. I will mix a little bit of the kimchi with the citrus kefir, and that is a super good dip.
That sounds really good.
Yeah, so in my mind, it's like that's taking care of the rancid fat in these potato chips and all of the empty calories that I'm getting, and I'll have 2 or 3 chips and I'm done. I satiated that need to crunch something up. I had a really good dip to put it in, and I haven't really hurt myself. So
now, you told me a fried rice and egg recipe. What is that?
Rice, yes, it's wonderful, and it's leftover rice, which is I was just reading last night about fried rice syndrome, which is when you get really bad, you get really sick from rice that's been left out, like E. coli, salmonella, super bad with that. So this is leftover rice that's been in the refrigerator and chilled. Don't let it cool on the counter. You kind of squish it into a patty, so you'd want to use the sticky rice, and then you fry it in a fat like avocado or coconut oil. ghee if you want to use ghee. And it's done when it smells like popcorn. So you've got this crispy rice cake. So you put that on your dish. You put a little tablespoon of, I like to use the kimchi, or what we call hellishly hot kraut, on top of that. And then there is a dressing that you make, which is, I actually use the whole bunch of green onions and chop those up, and then a half cup of rice vinegar. And you blend that up and then just pour that over the top. Fry an egg crispy like you did your rice, and then put that on top. It doesn't look like a lot of food, but because of the amount of ferments and the prebiotic which you have, which is the onion with the rice wine vinegar, I can eat about half of that. And it didn't look like that much, and usually less than I normally eat. Was we're full eating half of that thing, but that recipe is really good.
So that with like a carrot juice?
Yeah.
Or maybe the carrot or beet kvass.
And kvass a little bit, yeah.
And can you use the kvass and the kraut like that together?
Absolutely. And
that sounds so good.
And that's a full meal for probably under 30 cents.
And I bet it's beautiful.
It's gorgeous. I mean,
the colors in that. You've got to feel good just taking that in and making that part of you.
Yes, and you're also getting the protein from the rice, which normally you wouldn't get because there's so much starch and so much carbohydrate. But it's all been pre-digested, because it's like beans. If you refried beans are the only way I'll eat beans, because they've been boiled, they've been soaked, they've been boiled, then they've been cooked again in a fat, and that way your body can actually digest them. But the same thing with the rice. This way the rice becomes very filling, the egg is super nutritious, and then you're getting the probiotic of the kraut and the prebiotic of the green onion in there, the raw green onion. So
yeah, and cooked in ghee.
Yes.
The richness of that would be even more satisfying up here in the cold.
Yes, exactly.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, that sounds like a lunch plan. Breakfast plan, something.
We ate it for dinner, I think 4 nights in a row. It was really good. So, and my husband's like, do you want some meat? And I'm like, I really don't. This is enough. This is good. So,
yeah.
Yep.
So, can people find you anywhere besides the Sears Mall?
Yes, we have just, as a matter of fact, we have just signed up with Non-Essentials in Palmer to do pop-ups out there, and we believe that's going to be right now Friday or Saturday afternoons for us. There's another summer market that we do in Anchorage here. Thursday market, though, I have time to talk to you, and it's a slower pace. I like to meet people there better because it's not so frenetic and busy.
Yeah, because you're there personally.
I'm there personally. Yeah, and a big part of me being there personally is I can help you understand the things, and you can see who made your food. You know, that's always kind of fun.
Yeah.
Oh, you made this? I'm like, I do. That's why I'm here one day.
And do you have a website? I know you have a Facebook page.
We do Facebook and Instagram. We don't do a website because we found a lot of times that you'll get a lot of questions and questions and questions and questions. Facebook is real time. Instagram, you can see the pictures. You know, if you want to talk to me personally, come on down. Or if you need to talk to me over the phone, message me on Facebook. Send me your phone number. I'll call you and talk to you. I'll make time to talk to you. So that's a priority to me. Education is a priority.
And can somebody order your products, or do we have to go?
You have to buy them from me.
Or know somebody that
can buy them, and how they get them to you is your business. I don't need to know. And that comes down to permitting. There's a lot of different rules in the food world. Permitting gets more expensive. The more you're allowed to do, the more expensive your permitting is. And we're trying to keep everything cost effective here. So,
yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, this has been great talking with you today.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah. Thank you too. And I'll put links to everything in the description, and hopefully more people will be so interested in either trying your products or just in general really starting to seriously think about the fermented foods. It's such a great area.
It is.
Just overall, what do they call it? The like turquoise. It heals everything.
Everything. Yeah. And I know I hear often it's like, oh, this is a fad, and it's like, it's not a fad. I learned from an 80-year-old man when I was 3.
And that's so special.
That is
just that part right there.
That's a huge connection for me. And I think back on that often, and what he taught me, and how long it has stayed with me. I hope he's proud of it. I feel like I'm doing justice to the time that he spent with me. Yeah.
All right. So thank you again.
Thank you, Cynthia.
And until next time, thank you very much.